Hello, everybody. It's James here, WSI. If it looks like I'm reclining, I am. The knee's still not better. It won't be for a few months. But let's do some plugs first. Owen Hart book and the Rock book. The links, I can't be bothered getting up and finding where the books are because it takes me like 10 minutes to do so. But for now, let's introduce, for a quick half-hour interview, the original broski, Matt Cardona. Hello.
What's up, man? How you doing?
Oh, well, I'll say fine. And I'll leave the complaining out.
Yeah, okay.
I never watched until today the Major Wrestling Figure podcast or the YouTube or anything like that, and then I watched it for about 2 hours today, and I'm like,
oh wow,
do you know what? I would not say this unless I meant it. I actually really enjoyed a lot of them. With these, the Netflix show, The Toys That Made Us.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not like a big collector, but I love anything about collecting like toys, even if I'm not interested. But I love that. But let me see where I'm going to go with this. First time that you did a collection of toys, just before it became a hobby, and then it was like, I'm a collector now.
Yeah, I mean, I was a kid growing up, that rock and wrestling era, the early 90s, the Attitude Era. I collected the toys. I played with the toys. I had a lot of the toys as a kid. And then, when you're in high school, it's not cool to be, eyeing toys, playing with toys. I still did it anyway. I was hiding it. It was a secret thing that I did. And it wasn't until I met Brian Myers in wrestling school where we realized, wait a minute, you collect wrestling figures too? And it broke the ice. And we just said, you know what? Fuck it. We can do whatever we want. We can collect our figures. We can display our figures. Like, we're in the business. It's okay. And that was 2003. It's now, oh my God, almost 20 years later, where we'd be texting every day about figures or on the road going to vintage toy stores or Walmart or Target or Toys R Us when it was a thing and looking for figures. And eventually I said, Brian, let's try to do something with this. Let's start a podcast about wrestling figures. And that's how the Major Wrestling Figure podcast was born, long story short. And like you said, there's people who find us on YouTube. We have so many different avenues. We have our own toy line, Major Bendy's, which we made the Ric Flair figure that's available for Starcast, his last ever match. So we've done so much with just this podcast. It spawned into so much more.
I don't know if it's my natural jealousy, but you've got more views than me on the YouTube channel, so therefore I was really upset.
Hey, yeah. It's funny because a lot of people, they come to us at these signings or wrestling shows like, hey, we really love the YouTube channel. And I'm like, well, do you listen to the podcast? Like, no, you have a podcast? I'm like, the whole thing's based on the podcast. But it's cool. It's cool that we have fans. We try to bring people in any way possible.
I will. I'm going to maybe not to look at us because I look about 12. We're actually about give or take the same age. So I started wrestling started watching wrestling in '93, and they were still the old Hasbro, the real stiff, short, Jody looking ones. And then somebody, must be about '98, presented me with this.
That's a bootleg. That's a very famous bootleg. It's called Mannix is the toy line.
Oh right, it's actually famous because I was like, not only have they done the, I'll do this for the main camera as well. I can't do that. I've got like a product setting on this camera, but they've not only have they done the nipples on it, they've done the belly button as well. Yeah, that's a real nice touch.
Yeah, those are bootleg wrestling figures, but it's like there's a lot of bootleg wrestling figures over the years, but that particular set is quite famous, actually. It's not worth money, but it's cool. I have them.
Yeah, my childlike brain actually filled in. So for the camera, it says OGO on the thing. It first filled it in to say Hogan on it. I thought it said Hogan for years.
That's actually great.
and then I thought it must say NWO for years. So I was like,
right.
Oh, I think I just wanted it to be real so much.
Sure.
That I filled it in. I'm not the best collector in the world. I think I dabble in collecting, and then I either get auction fever where you just can't stop buying something, or I just immediately lose interest. The only thing I've managed to collect anything of recently is Lego Star Wars, which I'm just a nut
That's
for.
Intense.
Which brings me to this question. Obi-Wan Kenobi, the series, your reaction?
Yeah, you know what? I liked it. Did I love it? No. I think it would have worked better as a movie.
Really?
Or maybe if you were able to binge watch them. I understand the Disney Plus model where they want you to wait, so it extends the hype. But you had that whole week off to think about it, to go online. I feel like a lot of things would have come as more of a surprise if you were just watching it all at once. But I did enjoy it.
You see, I loved it. I mean, the only thing I had a complaint about was when, spoiler everybody, Obi-Wan zips Darth Vader in the head right at the end, and then he's about to get him, kill him, finish off the Empire once for all, and then he just sort of walked off instead. And I know we couldn't kill him, but I mean that was the only thing that sort of took me out slightly.
Right. Well, he can't die. He's in all the other movies.
What do you think? I won't ask more Star Wars questions, but I mean, I never watched Book of Boba Fett. I was turned off to that immediately, but Mandalorian I still think might be the best thing that's ever come out of the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, I love the Mandalorian as well. Listen, anything Star Wars, I'll support and I'll watch. Listen, we could all play armchair quarterback and try to rewrite something what we could have done better. But the fact that we're getting all this Star Wars content all these years later is pretty incredible, because for me, like, I thought Star Wars was done when I was watching the VHSs in 95, 96, before Phantom Menace came out. So all these years later, still get new stuff and great stuff, whether or not I 100% agree with everything. Like, it's not my story to write.
Who's more intense as a group, Star Wars fans or wrestling fans?
Oh boy, I think it might be pretty even. I think that's very passionate both ways. Very positive when it's time to be positive, but also very negative when it's time to be negative. Even though I don't think there's ever a time to be negative.
Yeah, I understand completely. It's like, dude, you're getting so much Star Wars, and you thought that was going to be over at 80. What, 3?
Right.
They're just like, right. Be happy it's there, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back onto the figures for a minute. I'm sorry.
Sure.
Normally, I don't rush this much with things, but we've got a sort of half-hour time window. But I've got a billion.
Well, hey, if we go 36 minutes, I won't charge you extra. How about that?
Oh, good. I'll rebate you if we go like 26 or something.
Yeah.
Well, with collecting again, I want to talk more about the collecting and keeping things in the packaging, looking for something that makes it special. What's something that's really special to you in wrestling figures or a wrestling collectible that you look out for?
The packaging, especially nowadays, has been incredible. Like, for instance, this past week at San Diego Comic-Con, Mattel released a no holds barred 2-pack where it was Hogan as Rip and Zeus, and it's in a VHS style packaging. That's awesome. I don't collect things in the package. I open things up. I say, let them breathe, because I have too much stuff, and to display it properly, it needs to be opened. There's no way I could display everything in the package. Now, certain things I do keep in the package, so there's always an exception to every rule. But yeah, I like to rip them open. I'm not playing with them, but pose them, check them out, check out the back. Can't do that if it's in the package.
So do you practically never make a purchase for an investment?
I would say most of my stuff is for me. Of course, there is time where I do buy something. I'm like, I'm going to save this for a while. Or if I see something that should be going for more money, I'll buy it and resell it. But typically, if I'm buying something, it's for me and my personal collection.
Right. So this is just between us two. How much have you spent on one item? What's like the maximum amount you've spent? And what was it on?
On one item. Well, off the top of my head, and I can't 100% say this is the most expensive one, but there's something, those Hasbro figures you were talking about from the early 90s. There was a unreleased Kamala that had an alternate design on his stomach. It had a moon instead of a star, and it's very, very rare, and it's like this urban legend. There are a few out there. I spent $11,000 on it. Yeah.
Just on that one, you didn't let that one breathe, did you?
Absolutely not. That one stays in the package, baby. Yeah, that one stays in the box. What's
the holy grail? I know there's probably like a universal holy grail for collectors, but what's your personal holy grail that if if it came up for 50 grand, let's say, you'd seriously consider purchasing it?
Yeah, so especially like in that Hasbro era, the early 90s, a lot of stuff just didn't come out. Right. And we didn't know about it till years later. Sometime, for instance, there's a Toys R Us ad. I think it's like a 91 WF magazine that shows all the new tag teams and has like the Rockers, Demolition, the Bushwhackers, Rhythm and Blues, which is Honky Tonk Man and Greg the Hammer Valentine. And that that particular Greg the Hammer Valentine never came out in stores. And as a kid, I didn't know that because there's no internet, there's no next WF magazine says, hey kids, it's not coming out, so I'm searching for it. And for years, I think I just don't have it. Fast forward, I do have it now, the hand painted prototype from that ad. So that's currently like my number one piece in my collection. And I'm not even like a Greg the Hammer Valentine fan. Like, not that I'm not a fan. I'm just not like oh my God, he's my favorite, but I just needed that figure. So in that same vein, if there is an unreleased, there are certain guys that are rumored to come out. And one of those guys was Diesel, like the very, very end. If there's a hand painted prototype of Diesel somewhere, that would be my holy grail. I have tracked down like the concept art for it. And I've tracked down like the head, like the unpainted head. So I know they got far enough. How far did they get? I don't know. I don't know if they ever got to a hand painted prototype stage. Nobody knows. There's no picture online. But if that ever showed up, that'd be the one I'd go after hard.
Do you like try and find like ex-employees of Hasbro or
exactly
Jax or whatever? So
yes.
you actually hunt these guys out who worked at the time?
Yeah, 100%. And it's not just me. Like, that's how you do this, because I don't want to say like don't go to eBay for this stuff, because of course you can. Like, sometimes things do pop up on eBay, but a lot of these prototype and unreleased sales are done like, I don't want to say the black market, but Facebook, or private text messaging or private message boards. So there's this whole underground community of prototype collectors.
I've seen some of the. Did you know that Netflix show I mentioned? I think they had a couple of prototypes on that wrestling one as well, which was dead fun to see. So when they say prototype, there is one. Is there always like one unique one, and that's it?
There could be like a couple, maybe 5 or so. There's no exact number. Some of them are used for commercials or magazines or for a toy fair. So there are a few, yeah, but they're meant to be destroyed. They're not meant to, be in someone's display case 30 years later.
I can't imagine anymore. Do you know what? I actually can. I know there's an old Jim Cornette story where he ended up getting a load of WCW like arena footage from the 70s because he stopped like the janitor. And he had like wheelbarrows of this stuff he was just throwing into the dumpster, and Cornette happened to be there, and he went, "I'll take them off your hands," and now they're probably worth a load,
I bet they are, yeah.
Definitely. Right, from figures. Oh, by the way, this was the number one question: figures or dolls?
Oh, figures. They're not dolls,
dude. So easy for me to wind people up and say dolls. It's just like a total trigger word.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't like bother me or get under my skin, but they're not dolls. They're action figures, 100%.
Let me think. I've got so many things to ask you here. I'll tell you what, I'm going to ask you this because I see a couple of belts behind you. And
sure.
One of the videos I watched very recent, you were in Australia, trawling through a shop, and you see the Intercontinental title belt that you won, the replica of with the white leather.
Yes.
And then in another video, just happens to be the next one I clicked on, it was the new hateful design of the Intercontinental title. Is that just me that I hate it, or does... I don't enjoy it. I'm glad I got the version I got. 100%. Well, speaking of, so this would be when we started watching our era of Icy Belts.
Sure.
Why particularly that belt? Why is that the charming one? Why is that the best of the best of design?
I mean, I think we're nostalgic to it. That design, especially some of my favorites held it. Whether it be the Macho Man or Bret Hart or Shawn Michaels or Mr. Perfect. And then even guys later before it switched over, Austin has it, so I think it's awesome. I think it was great when Cody brought it back all those years ago. It made sense to bring it back. And I understand change happens and you gotta evolve, but I just don't like the new look. It doesn't seem special to me.
No, it looks like,
but who knows? Maybe kids now in 20 years will say, no, that's my IC title. Who knows?
It looks like a big coin to me. You remember like those tag team titles where they just look like a bronze coin? It sort of like looks like that to me.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it.
No, fair enough then. Well, with the IC title, so I really started getting into wrestling like in the Attitude Era, and then The Rock had the IC belt for goodness knows how long, and then it was like the sort of overly affair, and for years I thought that was the best design and the old one was wrong. Right. That must be an incredibly unpopular opinion. I
mean, I don't agree with you. I can't speak for everybody though.
I was wrong. I freely admit it took me to adulthood to realize I was wrong on that one. With belt designs. Can you give me a top 3 or top 5 all time? Your top 5 greatest designs ever. I see the NWA title behind you.
Well, I am a former NWA World Heavyweight Champion. I never lost it. I think you got to throw that one in there just because of the history and the lineage. 100%. I love the Winged Eagle. That late 80s, early 90s. Not even early 90s. Goes all the way to 98. That's the classic WWF title from my childhood. I don't work there, so I can say WWF.
Yes.
I can say WWF. I'm putting the F back in. And people might disagree with me. They might hate on me. I think the original version of John Cena's spinner world title.
Really?
The fact that it was John Cena, he changed the belt. It spins. Now, when he lost it and the W stayed stationary and other people had it, I didn't like that. When you have like Jeff Hardy with the spinner title, it doesn't make sense, right? But when John Cena comes out with the title, it spins, man. And that thing, the amount of money that title made, whether it be replicas or toys. So I think the amount of money it made speaks for itself.
I'm going to throw a controversial one at you. John Cena's spinning US title just before.
I like that one as well. I don't think he had it long enough for it to be as iconic as the other spinner. And then when I became GCW World Champion, I made my own spinner belt. The GCW spinner belt, and the people hated me for it.
I've got one more for you. See what you think. Is because I'm partial to my former podcasting cohort Don Morocco. I do love the green old Icy title. I think that might be the one that Tito Santana threw away when he lost it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the originally, just one day, just right. Do you know the story of that one?
I do not know the story of him just throwing it away, no.
Yeah, I think they replaced the belt, and he saw the old one with, I don't know if it's the brown strap or the green strap, and he just went, well, no need for this, and just threw it away.
Oh, my God. Different times, baby.
Definitely, different times. I might even ask you some wrestling questions in a minute, but best wrestling game ever?
Best wrestling, like video game?
Yeah.
Ooh, I think you got to go with Revenge, that WCW NWO Revenge. Or maybe the next one. What's that next one? WrestleMania 2000? One of those.
Yeah, WrestleMania 2000. Then it was No Mercy, which is my favorite. But they didn't have the entrances in the ring in No Mercy, which always bummed me out.
No, I don't remember that. No entrances. Okay, so maybe it's WrestleMania 2000 because it takes what No Mercy did. I'm sorry, it takes what am I saying? Revenge did. It makes it even better. So WrestleMania 2000.
Fine answer. So I was worried you were going to say Here Comes the Pain. Or maybe even Royal Rumble, Royal Rumble from like 93 or something.
I actually love Royal Rumble for Super Nintendo, 93. Yeah, I do love that one.
All right, so I'm actually going to ask you some wrestling related questions now. May 28th, we want to know about the incident where your bicep got torn off the bone. Oh, I'm assuming it's torn off the bone. So what happened in the match, and just freak thing or move that went wrong or what?
Yeah, I wrestled twice that day in the same building. I wrestled for Pro Wrestling Revolver against Rich Swann for the Impact Digital Media title, and then didn't even shower, just changed gear, redid my hair, went out there like an hour or two later and wrestled Blake Christian for GCW. This little spot monkey does one of his high flying flips over the ropes and lands on me and tears my bicep. A freak thing. Shit happens, right? I continue the match because I'm so tough, and I actually win. But then I knew the whole time something's wrong. And then after the match, I rolled down my elbow pad and I see my bicep is rolled like all the way up towards my shoulder. I'm like, well, I'm no doctor, but I could tell this thing's torn. So took a red eye back home to Orlando, got it checked out. Sure enough, torn. Got the surgery, and that was 2 months ago. So doctor said 5 to 6 months. I was hoping to do it in 3. So we have a month left. Will I do it in 3? I don't know. I will not get back in the ring unless I'm 100%, unless I feel I'm 100%. Like right now, listen, if there was something going down at this Ric Flair's last match show and they said, hey, Matt, like the card got shuffled, you need to wrestle Ric Flair. All right, I'd put those boots on. I'd put that baby oil on and I'd wrestle, but I'm not risking it for anything less than that. until I'm 100%.
Well, they say fighters heal quicker is the old saying.
Well, for sure. We're not normal humans. I'm also, rehabbing like a son of a bitch every single day, maybe overtraining, but who's to say what overtraining is, and I just want to get back there.
Well, specifically, actually, what is the rehab for a torn bicep? Obviously, they reattach it. You've got to leave it for a little bit, but talk us through the rehab process.
Yeah. So at first it's very, very annoying because it's just doing stretches, getting that mobility back. Because for a while you're just in this soft cast, you're letting that tendon heal. Then afterwards, you're just trying to get that mobility back. You can't even straighten your arm. You're in a brace that every week or so you unlock a little more to get some more range of motion in there. And then, I'm holding 5-pound dumbbells in like a hammer curl press, just holding them like a hammer curl. Now I'm back to in the gym, not doing my full routine, but I'm back in there. I'm not wearing the brace anymore. So we're getting there. I'm almost ready, but I'm not 100% yet.
Yeah. I mentioned to you just before, so I've got a torn ACL and everything else that's gone wrong with my knee. And I'm currently in the down in the dumps stage.
Sure.
How long did that take for you to pass? I'm assuming you went through the woe is me stage.
I would say it was from the injury until I got the surgery, right? Because once you get the surgery, it's like, all right, let's go. Let's fucking go. Let's heal. Let's rehab. Let's fucking do this. That week in between, of course, having to relinquish or knowing that I'd have to relinquish all of my titles that I've collected over the past year, knowing that I'm in the height of my career. Most people, they leave WWE, they get on that elevator going down. I was going up, baby, reinventing myself, having fun, creatively fulfilled, making the most money ever. I was just hitting it everywhere. It was just great. It was a great time wrestling every weekend, doing the podcast, just winning titles, making money, making towns. And for that all to go away over this unsafe worker, Blake Christian, it was a little disappointing. And to know, like, well, it's more of the uncertainty, right? Well, how long is this going to take? I know the doctors say 5 to 6 months. I know I want to be back in 3 months, but what is it? What's it really going to be? So, and then also, like, do I want to get this surgery? Can I wrestle? Can I, fight through this? Also there was a pay-per-view, an NWA pay-per-view named after me. I'm getting my own goddamn pay-per-view, and now I can't wrestle on it. Like, holy shit. So there was a lot of things on my mind, but I went to enough doctors, talked to enough doctors. They all suggested the surgery. They all said this is the way to go. So I got it. And then once I got the surgery, no more feeling bad for myself. Let's just get better.
Yeah, that's the light at the end of the tunnel moment. Sort of thing, yeah. I'm hoping I can do the same thing. What are your immediate goals when you get back into the ring? And ultimately, what is the ultimate achievable goal you think in your career at this point that you're going to aim for?
Man, that's a good question. I don't really have an answer to that. I know my first match back, what I have on my calendar is against Tatanka, the Native American superstar, at the Wrestling Showcase in Chicago. I'm very excited about that. But man, ever since I got released from WWE, like, it took a while to find my groove because in the pandemic and there was no indie shows. And then, I did AEW for a cup of coffee. And then Impact was great, but there's no people there. It took me a while. It wasn't until my stuff with GCW where I really like found myself and everything kind of clicked. And then, man, since then, which was just about a year ago, everything has been insane busy, booked out. Even now, like, I'm booked out through the end of the year, and it's July. You know what I'm saying? So, like, what do I want to accomplish? Yeah, it'd be nice to win these titles back. It'd be nice to get all these titles back. But I don't have an end goal right now. I kind of want to prove that you don't necessarily need a major company like WWE or AEW, and those are both great companies, right? But I want to prove that you don't need to be there to be a successful pro wrestler. That's kind of my goal. And by successful pro wrestler, what's successful, right? Are you talking wins and losses and titles? Are you talking happiness? Are you talking money? Well, I want to be successful at all of that. You know what I'm saying? So this past year I have been. I want to continue that and make it grow. And especially with my Major Wrestling for a podcast with Brian Myers, that is growing. So if both of those continue to grow at the same time, things are going to be great.
Yeah, it seems to me that you've done the. I mean, a lot of people who get released from WWE, let's say Bray Wyatt, just sort of disappears, and then you've done the Drew McIntyre way of doing it. You've gone, no, hang on, I'm going to prove to you you were wrong, and I'm going to prove to you my value, and you did that in very short time.
I got to cut you off there. I'm not trying to prove anybody wrong. I'm trying to prove myself right. I'm trying to prove my fans right. I don't give a shit about proving anybody wrong. I don't have a chip on my shoulder. If that happens in the process, cool, right? If I prove a couple haters wrong in the process, convert them to being fans, glad to have you. But it's not about you guys. It's about me, my fans, the people who have supported me, whether it be from the Edgehead days or the Z True Long Island Story days, or, whether it's just podcast fans. It's about proving those people right, proving myself right. If you don't believe in me or you never did, I don't give a shit.
No, to be honest, I didn't mean it that way. I thought that you had tremendous. I thought you had tremendous public, backing as well. So
trust me. Listen, I have tons of haters, like we all do. You get in this business, you need thick skin, right? But I'm not motivated by proving people wrong. I want to prove people right, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I'll ask you a couple more wrestling-based news questions.
Sure.
We'll do maybe a little game at the end. I'll bring up Starcast
again. And then I'll give you my PayPal so you can pay me that bonus.
Yeah, of course, dude. Yeah, 6 minutes. It's on a sliding rate. It's a shame that in the last couple of weeks there's been no news in the wrestling business, but I'm going to pluck something out of thin air and say Vince McMahon has retired. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, just initial thoughts of Vince's retirement and what has led up to it.
Man, I never thought we'd see the day where Vince McMahon retired from WWE. And I never thought it would be on Twitter. I thought there would be this grand goodbye. Man, Vince McMahon, listen, the allegations are very serious. And if I don't even want to speak on those, right? But as Vince McMahon, as the creator of sports entertainment, of WWE, man, he created what has become my life. And for that, I need to thank him for that. For that, I will always be grateful, because not only is it given me 37 years of enjoyment, right? But it's given me 20 years of income. It's been my job for 19 years. I wake up every morning very fortunate. I'm not, right now it's a Thursday morning. I'm not going to my 9 to 5. I'm sitting here talking to you about my wrestling career. Mm-hmm. And that's because of Vince McMahon. So I will always be grateful for Vince McMahon.
Everybody always remembers the first time they had a sit-down meeting with Vince McMahon. What's your story with that?
The first sit-down with Vince was actually after Hawkins and I became the Edgeheads. We quickly had to switch our names from Brett and Brian Major to Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins, because in the production meeting on the SmackDown after the Armageddon, where we debuted as the Edgeheads, Vince found out that we weren't brothers, that we weren't really brothers. He said, well, this doesn't make sense. We need them to reveal their real names, but of course not their real names, their fake real names. So throughout the day, there was some confusion as to what we would be called, because some people thought that we should have edge-like names like Axel or Slash. And then some people no, they need real names. So we had to go to Vince to figure it out. And he was very complimentary that it was our idea to be the Edgeheads. I think he liked that. So that's the first interaction I had with him in his office. Was him complimenting us really for taking the ball. Yeah.
Did you? I know this is Brian Myers' story, but were you also in that meeting, the excellent Question Shelton meeting?
I may have been. I mean, if Brian Myers was there, I must have been there. So I don't recall the exact story, but if he was there, I most likely was. Listen, we have so many meetings. They all blend together.
And I'm imagining this is a very short answer, but any memories of John Laurinitis?
Yeah, John Laurinitis, people power. He was a scary man. When I first got to WWE, he's the boss and he takes no shit. And I think that's how someone in talent relations should be. I think, if there's a question or you have a problem, you go to Johnny Ace, you go to John Laurinitis, you go whoever's in charge. They should give you the answer, right? And that's what I always suspect about John Laurinitis is that whether you like the answer or not, that was the answer. And you got to respect that. And it wasn't until he became an on-air character that I started to know him on a personal level, because I'm doing these backstage, segments with him as Zack Ryder. And he's, Johnny Ace, people power. And I see him like in the corner, like rehearsing his lines. I'm like, this guy is human. He's not this, sure, he's the hard ass head of TR, but he's also deep down, he's a human just like us. So it wasn't until I saw that side that things kind of clicked for me and him. Like, are we buddies to this day? Are we texting every day? Absolutely not. But I like Johnny.
I would. Did you know there's so many ways, like different talent VPs and stuff like that I'll ask you, but I'm going to go straight to our little game, and then we'll do a little talk on Starcast, and then we'll thank you for your time. And call it name association. I'm going to give you a descriptor, a sentence, and you just tell me the first name that matches that description, any wrestling company and any wrestler that we've heard of. And the first one is funniest person in the locker room.
Heath Slater, or just Heath, or Heath Miller. I'd say Heath for sure.
Why?
Oh my God. It's hard to describe because he's somebody you just got to be around. I'll tell you, there's a text message from a couple days ago on my phone, like the memories popped up, where it says like 10 years ago on this day, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Something like that. And it was me drop kicking Heath from, I think it was Australia or some overseas tour. So it clearly says, okay, here it is. WWE Melbourne, Australia, July 26, 2013. So I text him that picture, right? And he goes, haha, that was a while ago. I said, well, duh, Heath, it says 2013. Oh, shit, it was a while ago. It says the date right there.
Joe, I was so worried you were going to turn your phone around and like reveal his number. I was like, oh no, I'm going to have to do some editing. No. Well, you're more than welcome to.
No, I'm not going to do that. All sorry. Right. You might like that.
Next one, last man standing at the bar.
Woo! Luke Gallows, not Gallows.
Good for him. Good for him. Most beautiful woman worker aside from Chelsea Green.
Ooh, I'm going to say Laurel Van Ness. You know her?
Yes, that's Chelsea Green in Impact.
That's my answer. I'm a smart man.
Do you know, I only found that out the other day as well because I also do a show with Dutch Mantel, and he said that Chelsea was one of the best women he ever worked with ever.
Oh, that's
absolutely
awesome.
Loved her.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Next one, smelliest wrestler.
Smelliest wrestler, man. I know who it is, but I'm not going to throw him under the bus.
Fair enough. Just say Balls Mahoney like everyone else. Biggest stooge for the dirt sheets.
Woo, I know who that is, but I'm not going to throw that one under the bus either. You're not getting clickbait here, pal.
No, I'm sorry. I might skip that one as well then. Most dangerous situation you ever found yourself in?
In a wrestling ring?
Anything revolving around wrestling could be, yeah, basically.
I didn't think getting pushed off a stage in a wheelchair was particularly safe.
No, probably, yeah. Okay, I'll take that for now. The clumsiest wrestler, 2 left feet.
Oh, again, I'm not burying anybody.
Not happening.
You're talking to the wrong guy.
Most, all right, well, I'll ask, this might be the same one. Most memorable backstage fight?
Like a real fight?
Yeah.
I don't recall seeing any like real fights, like a fight or anything worth mentioning. I know one time Sin Cara threw like a soda can at Simon Gotch in catering. So maybe and even that, like I didn't like witness. I was just in catering when it happened. I didn't see the can going through the air. But maybe that. Like,
hey, I've never read that one before. That's
soda can. Oh, it was a good one. I love Sin Cara.
The nicest person in wrestling.
Nicest person in wrestling. Wow. Besides myself?
Yes, of course you can't say yourself.
Besides myself? Maybe Vicky Guerrero.
Good answer. I'll skip that one. I'll skip that one. I'll
Who,
skip.
who willingly buries people on this show?
Okay, well, this is complimentary. Biggest ladies man.
Biggest ladies man, Dolph Ziggler.
Really? Oh, who's the comedian he went out with? I can't remember her name.
I mean, which one?
Oh, crikey! The famous one in the films. I can't remember her name.
Listen, I'm not gonna say any names.
Oh, fair enough then. I'm trying to skip. Worst gimmick ever.
Worst gimmick ever. Ooh, that's tough. Worst gimmick ever. I mean, there's been some bad ones, but who's to say what's the worst? Off the top of my head, Abe Knuckleball Schwartz. What about that?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I interviewed Brooklyn Brawler as well about that, and he said the way he got it on TV was Vince wasn't like convinced by it at all, and rightly so. But then Brooklyn Brawler went, "But it's never been done before, Vince." And Vince went, "It's never been done before, right? Well, we've got to do it then."
Yeah.
Loudest spot caller. I've written a name on my hand as well.
Loudest spot caller. Are there like notoriously loud spot callers? I couldn't tell you. I don't know.
Okay, everyone says John Cena on that one.
Okay.
Most talented wrestler you ever worked with?
Man, I guess that's up for debate. Like, what is the most talented wrestler? I think The Miz is one of the best. I think The Miz is highly underrated, underappreciated. I've gone in there with The Miz with nothing called. And I'm talking like really nothing called. You hear people back in my day, we called it the ring, all that bullshit. With Miz on some of these house shows. And I'm listening to The Miz, who's listening to the people, and he's guiding the match, the heel. I'm a babyface. He's fucking good. And he does not get the credit he deserves.
Fine answer. Stiffest working punch.
Woof. Maybe me.
Is it when you're working with your friends that it's always you always lay in more?
Sure. Arn Anderson once pulled me aside, said I'm too pretty. I gotta be a little snug in there. So I'll say me. I'll throw myself under the bus for that one.
That's fine, man. Most legit tough badass.
Legit tough badass. Man. I wouldn't want to fuck with Brock Lesnar, I'll tell you that.
No, all right. We can't argue with that one. Best ribber.
Best ribber. Man, I feel like the days of the ribs, the real ribs, the ones you hear those classic stories about, are gone. I know, Brian Myers and I, we always do little things like we'll hide, whether it be obscure trading cards or action figures in people's boots or bags. And recently, Doc Gallows had this, I don't know what it was, a street fight or a hardcore match in Impact. And there was for some reason, they were going to use a drum set as a weapon. It was Gallows versus PCO. I don't even know if this match aired yet, so it might be a spoiler. But Brian Myers, he was actually with Heath. He took an old Festus, Festus, old Festus action figure, and taped it inside the drum set. So when they use the drum set on Impact in the ring, when PCO smashes that drum set over Gallows' head, the Festus figure just starts flopping around the ring. That was a good one.
What was his reaction? Did he actually see it, or was he like?
Well, he saw it. He saw it, but he can't sell it. They're on fucking TV.
What did he say afterwards?
He was not happy. I mean, he was laughing about it, but
Okay, I'll give you one more. Best and worst celebrity guest hosts on Raw, or celebrities that you met through wrestling.
So I'll be selfish for both of them. I'll say the best celebrity guest host, Hugh Jackman.
Mm-hmm.
I got to do something with him, which was really, really cool. He was a super cool guy. I remember backstage, we were just kind of bullshitting about like my story, like what I'm doing on TV, blah, blah, blah. And I mentioned the YouTube show. Like, oh, you have a YouTube show? Like, I'll do a YouTube show. And like he filmed something for my show, which was awesome at the time. And then someone who I dealt with, Buzz Aldrin. Do you remember him?
Really?
He's like, yeah, I dealt with it. It's just worse in the sense that like he had no idea what was going on. Forgot his lines. He's a great guy, but I mean that era of Raw where they were just bringing in anybody, it's like, what the fuck is going on here?
Was he still on the moon, basically?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I've interviewed Hornswoggle about a year ago, and he told me Al Sharpton.
Okay, did he work with him on the shows?
I don't know. I think Al Sharpton was the guy who wanted to leave after an hour.
Oh God, maybe. I mean, there were so many, it blends in for me.
Okay.
Did he say that the best one was the Muppets? Because he loves the Muppets.
No, do you know? I hadn't realised at the time he was like a massive Muppets fan as well, or else I would have just talked about that for an hour.
He has all the Muppets tattooed on his legs, and his legs are so hairy that they look realistic.
Okay. Yeah. So it's like what? So he's got like the mammoth.
He's got everything around his legs. Yeah.
I never. Do you know? I never even asked him for that as well. I could have had like a little.
You got to call him back, do an update.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've still got his PayPal.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Right. So just before I close this, we're gonna plug Starcast, and there's a ton of stuff going on this weekend as we record this. This is actually tomorrow. Starcast kicks off. You're going to be there for the Major Wrestling Figure podcast. Is it going to be a live stage show? I believe.
Live stage show on Saturday morning, bright and early, 9 a.m. Just announced Danhausen will be a guest. Of course, we got another surprise in our back pocket. And then all weekend long, we'll be meeting and greeting, signing autographs, selling 8x10, selling photo ops. And I do want to do a little cheap plug for Major Bendy's and the Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Woo! Available now. Starcast.com, Ric Flair's Last Match.com. Only 750 of these, and they're all signed by the Nature Boy. And I'm very proud that our toy line was the one who was able to get this out in such a short amount of time, wearing the robe, the final outfit of Ric Flair. So make sure you pick up your Ric Flair, Major Bendy.
What was the turnover time from offer to conception to making
we got it done in about 3 months, which is like unheard of.
Yeah, crikey.
Yeah.
And also, since you mentioned Ric Flair, the main event of Starcast is, of course, Father James Mitchell's Midnight Karaoke, but we've talked about that enough. We talked about that enough this weekend. But so we're going to talk about Ric Flair coming back to the ring at 73 years old. What are you hoping to see? He's tagging with Andrade versus Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. What are you hoping to see? What do you expect to see? Will you be watching between your eyes in case he explodes into dust?
No, I'll be there. I'll be watching backstage. I hope we see Gorilla Press Slam from the top. Hope we see some chops. Hope we see that classic Ric Flair covered in blood. I hope we see a figure four. I can't wait to watch this. I'm glad Rick is going out on his terms. Very, very happy for him. And I'm glad to be a part of it in such a small capacity, being the figure. But for me, like, I think it's a big deal. So I'm glad that I'm somewhat attached to Ric Flair's last match. It's an honor.
And you're not planning on a run-in or anything, are you?
I am not. I am not. Unless Double J calls me up and pads the envelope a little bit. That's about it.
Okay, then we'll shut this podcast down. So it's Starcast. It's starting tomorrow as we record this, so 29th, 30th, and 31st. Ton of stuff going on. Fight.tv has got the pay-per-view of the match and the roast of Ric Flair and a load of other stuff as well. So please go to starcast.com. The links are all in the description. And thank you very much, Matt, for joining us. And honest to goodness, I hope you come on some other time and we'll do this again.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you.